Some dude's like, oh yeah, video is very different. You don't know shit about video,
you'll never
right?
make it work.
You don't know anything. Yeah, and I'm like, listen, man, the quality of your videos don't even matter, right?
And he was arguing for it, and you were saying it doesn't matter.
I'm saying it doesn't matter because
Yeah.
I was so getting pissed off at this guy, right? Because he was telling me how it's so hard, and I'm like, dude, the quality of your videos doesn't even matter. Like, I bet you I can make the channel bigger than yours.
Yeah.
And this guy had like 20 or 30,000 subscribers, and he thought he was hot shit. So I'm like, let me do this. I'm gonna game YouTube.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
What's up, Syed? How's it going, man?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Dude, appreciate you coming on here.
Absolutely.
I consider you like the Warren Buffett of SaaS and tech. And those are my words. I don't think I've ever heard you say it. But, dude, you have been involved in many companies. Like, how many businesses have you started in the last, 10 plus years? I mean, you're not a very old dude. I thought when I first met you, we'd known each other for over, I think, a decade now. Yeah. But you've done a lot. How many companies have you been involved in?
Man, over 2 dozen now.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Yeah.
Dude, I knew it was a couple dozen. 2000's bananas.
No, 2 dozen, not
Oh,
2,000.
okay.
Are
I
you
thought said
crazy?
2000. I'm like,
No,
okay,
no.
is that domains you buy?
No. Over 2 dozen.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
2 dozen companies. Yeah.
And what are some of those companies that people would know?
Well, if you're in this crowd, Opt-in Monster is a
Yeah.
pretty big one. WP Beginner.
For sure.
If you ever do anything with WordPress, you know
Yeah.
about that. Monster Insights. It used to be known as Yoast Analytics.
Yeah, which is a huge plugin.
Right. So we
Yeah.
acquired that. Exact Metrics, WP Forms. If you're doing anything with form building in WordPress, you've seen that.
Yeah.
MemberPress, if you're doing anything with
For sure.
membership.
Dude, you've got the whole
Pretty
market
Links and
unlocked.
yeah.
Why did you get into tech? I mean, I know we met, for those watching, dude, it was like 2008. I think it was the guys at Column 5 that
Column
introduced
5,
us.
right.
Yeah. And you were helping them with some of their high-end clients. Somehow we got a hold of you. You helped us with our WordPress deployment. How did tech end up in your life?
Man, my parents moved here. It's a very long story.
Yeah.
My parents moved to the U.S.
How old were you when they moved?
I was 12 years old.
Okay.
My dad's mechanical engineering background, degree didn't validate.
Yeah.
Kind of do what all brown people do here, work at gas stations, right, swiping stuff.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make money, and one of my cousins told me about domaining, and that's what the start of tech was for me.
Really? Domaining. And then
Domaining.
did you learn how to code or?
Yeah, man. So I didn't speak English, by the way, at that time.
Wow.
I knew the alphabets.
Yeah.
I didn't know the alphabets. I memorized those. So I didn't speak English. I came here. I was 12 years old. I was supposed to go in 8th grade. They tested me up. So I was a 12-year-old in high school and spending most of my time in the library because I didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
I was a total nerd. And I wanted to play games. And the school blocked everything because, they don't want you to play games.
Yeah.
So I started looking at how do you play games around this thing called Firewall. And everything keep coming about proxies. And all the proxies were blocked. So I decided to learn how to make one.
So admin stuff. Oh, you made your own proxy?
I made my own proxy.
Oh, wow. So that
Because
way you could tunnel through and play all the games.
That's right.
Oh, dude.
And
That's
that's how I learned.
neat. I love that the mother of necessity was the invention for you.
Hey.
And how, why the drive? I know that you're also in real estate. So you're dude, what I've always appreciated about you is you're driven. You built the that YouTube channel. I think you exited. What was
Yeah.
that called again?
List 25.
List 25. I mean, million plus subscribers.
It
hit a
had
million?
2.5 million subscribers, over 500 million.
Yeah,
video
so
views.
it's like you're like a renaissance guy of the internet. You know what I mean? And I just love it because we're at Traffic Conversion Summit.
Right.
You're hungry. You're moving forward. I remember talking to you once. And you mentioned one of your mentors. Like, how did you figure this stuff out? Like, what do you think are the big moves that allowed you to get to the point where you're buying companies and doing a roll up and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, man. It's just surrounding myself with much smarter people than me.
And how long have you been doing that for?
I met my mentor when I was 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
Playing cricket, which most Americans don't know about the sport, but
Yeah.
if you go to Pakistan, India, any
Australia.
Australia, cricket is huge. I was playing cricket in South Florida. You actually have to pay to play cricket. Yeah. So,
Really? They don't
yeah,
have like cricket fields that you can just go play?
no,
Okay.
they're leagues. So,
Yeah.
and then I met the guy who owned one of the teams, and he said I could play for free because I didn't have any
But I
money.
mean, dude, he meets a lot of people. This is what I always find funny is
Yeah.
like, what did you say at 14 that got him to?
No, dude, I was like, I kid you not, I was just playing cricket in his team, and he was a really genuine guy, and he would talk to everybody, and I would talk to everybody too, and super respectful, super polite. And that was his rule. I could play in the team for free as long as I'm respectful and don't curse around and things like that.
Yeah.
And I started, he would ask, well, what are you doing? What are you studying? He took genuine interest. And I told him, oh yeah, I'm studying this and I'm trying to do this thing online. And he was like, oh, this is cool. And then, he would like start giving me a little bit of wisdom. And one time he invited the entire team over to his house. And I was just mind blown, right? This is like not a house. This is a freaking mansion.
Huge mansion.
It's a humongous mansion. You can go around in golf carts, right? There was literally golf carts.
Yeah.
You could ride around the whole property, estate. And I was like, whoa. And I started like literally taking interest in what he does.
Is that at 14?
Yes, that's
So
when
at 14, you visit this guy's house, and
Yes.
I mean, I've been in those moments where your whole belief system shifts about what's possible.
Absolutely. I saw a brown guy that can actually do this.
Dude, that's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, nobody in my family is rich, by the way. So,
Most entrepreneurs, that's usually not the case.
so I was like,
And he was interested, but what did obviously to be on the league, you got to be respectful and all that stuff.
Right.
But what did you do to get him to get to the point where he was willing to take time to mentor you outside of just being on a cricket team?
I just love cricket, and this man loves cricket more than I do.
Wow.
So we would watch cricket games that are being played around the world, and he would have like these watch parties at his house.
Yeah.
But except they were like stayovers at his house because the crickets are being played in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
So on the weekends, a bunch of guys would get
whole
together,
team or whatever, yeah.
right? And I would actually take interest in what he does, and he does real estate, right?
Nobody else would ask.
Nobody else would ask, and I would
Dude,
take
that's
interest.
the part, man. It's like I just love that because
Right.
those other people on the team were there.
Right.
And
Everybody-
you actually said, hey, man, how did this
Right.
come to be?
Yeah, and I genuinely was curious, right? And I kept like, I'm like, I love this, right? And he saw like my eyes would just glow, and like everybody's watching the game, and we're kind of like, that's where the couch is. We're sitting right on on the other side, and at 3 a.m, literally, and he's just like telling me how he took over a Burger King without paying a dime, right?
No money out of pocket.
No money out of pocket. Just take over a Burger King, and I was like, whoa! And I'm just like, my eyes would glow, and of course that makes you feel appreciated,
Yeah.
right? Somebody, and then he just kept telling me story after story, and I'll say, oh yeah, I'm doing this in my business, and he's like, oh cool, let me introduce you to so and so, and he would just introduce me to his other friends who are also fairly wealthy, successful, people, and yeah.
But so at some point though, you had to develop a skill set. So how did you end up in the WordPress space?
Man, I was doing a lot of shady SEO stuff in 04, 05. And that was all static content.
Yeah.
And I was selling tons of backlinks, and Google was coming hard on static content, and I needed something dynamic.
Yeah.
And I discovered WordPress in 06.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then that just all of a sudden you stopped the shady stuff, or you just shifted?
No, Google slapped. got a Google
Everybody's
slap.
like,
Got a
hey, I gotta
Google
get
slap.
legit.
Pretty much it was probably one of the easiest money I ever made.
Yeah.
I still say that. And one day, Google just flipped the switch and all vanished.
And you had to figure something new out.
I had to figure something new out. I didn't know that I was pretty good at traffic, and I started looking at all the different sources like the friend feeds of the world, and there were new platforms coming up like dig.com and stumbleupon.com. So started looking at WordPress, like WordPress sites. I was pretty technical.
Yeah.
Had a team that could build websites, and just started.
Was your team mostly in the US or
no, overseas?
Okay, overseas.
Yeah.
And so the WordPress stuff started becoming. Where does List 25 come from? Or like, how do you evaluate projects? Like, and maybe you have a different approach today, but I'm just curious. Is like, as somebody that sees opportunity all around, you've obviously figured out a way to, go down certain paths, be successful. You said a couple dozen companies. Some I'm assuming didn't work out.
Yeah.
How did you evaluate opportunities then versus now?
I was in college. I went to UF, University of Florida, and my roommate, who was 3 years ahead of me, graduated, with a degree, and then got a master's in international business, and he couldn't get a job. So, and we were just in Czech Republic, and I was like talking, man, I wish if there was one site that just told me all about the castles, but so I don't have to walk all around, just go to the right spot, because those castles are humongous, right?
Yeah.
Just go to that one spot or the 2 things or 5 things to see. So I initially thought, oh, that would be a cool site to do, just for fun. And then that didn't work out, of course, because I don't go to that many castles, so never executed on that. But this guy was there. I'm like, dude, since you're not able to find a job, why don't you just start this website? I'm seeing these list style websites popping up everywhere. And I can help you if you execute, right? And I'll pay you. I'll pay you an hourly rate, and then
so take the risk out of it,
right?
And was he a business partner with you, or you just wanted to say, hey, here's a project I think you should
here's
work
the project, and I didn't want to just kind of give him money.
Yeah.
So, and he's a really dear friend, still one of my best man at my wedding.
Awesome.
And yeah, so he
and did it start off as a WordPress site or as a YouTube video?
It started as a WordPress site.
Okay.
November, right?
Yeah.
November started as a WordPress site. I already had power user profile and digs and all that stuff.
Yeah, you know how to drive traffic.
So as long as he writes the content, I can use one of those profiles and blow it up. And in January, like three months after launch, somebody, I forget who, was telling me how I don't know how to do anything on YouTube. And I was like, man, you know what? Screw you.
And what year was this?
2012. So 2011 November, we launched this. And some dude's like, oh yeah, video is very different. You don't know shit about video,
you'll
right?
Make it work.
You don't know anything. Yeah, and I'm like, listen, man, the quality of your videos don't even matter, right? And
he was arguing for it, and you were saying it doesn't matter.
I'm saying it doesn't matter because I was so getting pissed off at this guy, right? Because he was telling me how it's so hard, and I'm like, dude, the quality of your videos doesn't even matter. Like, I bet you I can make the channel bigger than yours.
Yeah.
And this guy had like 20 or 30,000 subscribers, and he thought he was hot shit. So I'm like, let me do this. I'm gonna game YouTube. So
you went back to your black hat,
my black hat stuff, right?
Video, and you're like,
I'm gonna study this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna study this, how this works.
Yeah.
So I kid you not, I wanted a YouTube channel. I realized the age of the channel was very important. Somebody
bought somebody else's.
No, list 25 was not available on. It was a hidden. It was a closed channel. Somebody had it. They closed it.
Yeah.
So I hit up my ad rep and said, yo, I need this channel unlocked. If you do, I'll increase my budget.
Yeah.
So they gave me that channel.
Whoa.
So now,
and this thing started early.
06.
Oh wow.
So now I have a channel that was 06 with no videos on it. And
so how did you figure out what YouTube? Like, I mean, it's an interesting principle because it's like hacking anything, right?
Right.
How do you reverse engineer? I mean, you probably knew some people, but like, how did you figure that out?
I asked a few friends, and I started looking at videos that were ranking higher. It was the domain, and YouTube was Google owned. So I was thinking, okay,
it's
age of domain, matters in Google.
Factors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So 06 channel. Now it's starting in 2011, and this is what we did. Videos were shit quality, probably 320p. Okay, we took those 500 pixel wide images from the blog, blew it up, and pixelated, and all what David was doing was narrating it.
So it's essentially, just so everybody can get the visual.
Yes.
It's a blog post with photos. The list is 25.
Yes.
You're taking the heading photos from each section, stretching it so it's pixelated, and David is narrating and creating a video.
Dang right.
Hit publish.
And putting it up there, and we would optimize it, right? And guess what? Put it on StumbleUpon, baby.
That's it. So you use your profile you built out. Gets going.
And
what were some of the early traction numbers? Like,
so the first month, I believe we got like a few thousand subs, and then it started going to like 10,000 and onwards, and it really started catching on.
Like within 6 months, how many subs did you have?
I don't recall, but it beat
like
that guy.
Tens of thousands?
It beat that guy.
Oh, really? Whatever he had, you're like, got you, bro.
Right, and he was pissed, right?
Yeah.
He's like, dude, this is like shit quality video.
It's not.
I'm like, listen, man, like all I have to do is publish more videos than you do, and optimize it better than you do, and I know the game. And that my whole thing was, just seeing if I could do it, and it worked.
What was how much content did you eventually end up pushing? Is it like weekly, daily? What did you get to?
Yeah, it started out with once a week.
And what did from because I think of marketplaces and like focus, like the bowling pin. What was the first category of list 25s were you doing?
Dude, it was like things that you shouldn't be looking at, but you want to look at,
such as, because I know what comes to mind in that mind.
Brutal torture techniques.
Really? Are these subreddits or where did
I
you
swear
get
to God,
these from?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that it?
yeah,
You look at
and
subreddit and been
dude,
like
I swear
the deep of the underbelly of the internet.
yes, that was the most popular video and most popular article. We would rank, I think, #1 for the word torture techniques, and you'd be surprised how many people are searching for that.
Was there? I mean, there's obviously a benefit that Syed Balkhi's name's not on.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know you own this thing until we had
Right.
dinner here, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing this thing, and I'm like, how are you pulling this off? Dude, so it's just like find the person, creative endeavors,
Right.
invest in it.
Right.
And has that been the pattern for other projects that you've kicked off? Is who's going to lead this?
Yeah, but I've gotten smarter about it.
Yeah.
It's not like just because I'm good at the hacking part of things.
Yeah, doesn't
that
mean you
should be in
should do
every
it.
space.
Yeah.
Just like now it's more focused and alignment.
Real
a bit,
business.
yeah, with what we got going on and where we're trying to go.
So how are you making decisions today around projects you take on or don't take on?
Yeah, it has to be in the WordPress space because that's what we're good at. Has to be an essential.
Okay.
The solution that we're working towards has to be an essential.
Essential meaning it has to be needed by all
Right.
WordPress sites.
Has to be needed by the vertical is serving so desperately that this is the last thing that you cancel if your business was about to go out.
Wow. I mean, that's clear.
Right. Extremely clear.
Okay.
So no utilities.
Okay.
If you come say, hey, you know what? I'm trying to make my website Google AMP compatible. You should make a plugin for that. No.
No.
Because who knows 5 years later what Google will do.
So what are other categories that, I mean, obviously this is your secret sauce, but I mean,
Right.
is there any that are obvious that you think are next for you in that space?
Yeah, I mean, I have like exactly the blueprint of what we're trying to do. The companies that we're going to be taking stakes in this year. I'm actually meeting up with one tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about
For
those
sure. Yeah.
categories.
It's early. And are these, have you ever raised venture for this? Like,
No, I've been bootstrapped since the beginning, and I don't intend.
what
to
do you
raise-
think? I mean, you've been in the space, like I think the affiliate summit, the internet marketing,
Yeah.
and you meet these young guys that make a lot of money, and
Yeah.
but you've never been that guy, and that's what I've always appreciated.
Yeah.
What do you think financially, from a reinvestment point of view? Do you feel that you do better or right than the other guys that from creating real wealth?
Right.
And that's why I've always. Something about software for me, I love the continuity of it. I love that every month I got to earn the customer.
Right.
I mean, like, it's just an honest business model. And I've always been a big fan of reinvesting in growth. Like,
Yeah.
it just didn't make sense for me to take money out and spend it on
Right.
some depreciating asset when I know I can get a bigger ROI in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
It seems like you also believe in that. What do you do personally around investing, either yourself or other assets? How do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I started making money at quite an early age, and I was just afraid of losing it. Being honest with you, when I was younger, seeing
'Cause you
where I
came
came
from
from.
nothing.
Yeah, I came from nothing, and I didn't want to go back to that. So I saw a lot of my friends, right, same age, maybe a year or two older than me, completely crushing it on MySpace and some of the other, earlier days, and buying, these BMWs or even like Lambos
Yeah.
that they can't afford, but they're buying it and
You
they
get the payments, yeah.
Right, and I was like, man, I'm not going to do that. So I saved my money, which actually turned out to be a good decision.
Yeah.
My
'Cause
mentor
that market's correct, and all of a
yeah,
sudden you're in a
market's
good
corrected, and
position,
my mentor helped me find some really good deals
Yeah.
in commercial real estate, triple net leases. Learned that game from him all the way, and started diversifying a little bit, right? Because that gave me peace of mind.
Yeah.
Because now I know you can't kick me out of my house. I know you can't do this. So it just take away all those fears.
And that security allowed you to push even harder in the
absolutely,
business.
exactly, that security, because I was not worried.
Yeah.
I was no longer worried.
Making payments, supporting your
Right.
lifestyle, taking
Exactly.
care of your family.
Right, and so I was like, no, I can't lose.
Yeah. So now it's all house money. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's
yeah,
house money.
it's like,
Can't
what do we
lose.
do with this?
Right.
Do you think there'll be a point in the future where you take some capital to kind of grow things?
No.
No.
No
So you're
interest.
good bootstrapping, free cash flow,
Yeah.
reinvest.
Yeah.
And why software? I mean, obviously you've done a bunch of different annuity type things with SEO, et cetera,
Right.
but why software?
Recurring revenue is quite attractive, but I feel
Did you learn that from the real estate stuff from your mentor? Like, just kind of, when I look at software and real estate, I feel like they
pretty-
have similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very close to triple net leases
Yeah.
if you put the right team in it.
Yeah.
But the coolest part about software is that you can actually make a real big difference.
Yeah.
Especially what we're doing now, and that's just exciting. In being at the forefront of innovation and software is quite like hacking.
Yeah.
Right. Seeing what does the user want versus what do they need.
Yeah.
And figuring that out, whoever figures that out wins the game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's neat. And you've seen, like, you know, I recently brought my group that I coach to see Jason Cohen at WP Engine. I mean, they've built, I think it's $100 million a year company in like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Does it blow your mind? It blows my mind that like WordPress is so big. Like, I don't think people tell everybody watching the stats on WordPress so they can get a sense of.
Yeah, it doesn't blow my mind because I've been in WordPress for the last 13 years. WordPress powers 33% of all websites.
A third of the internet is powered by WordPress.
Absolutely. It's a multiple billion-dollar industry.
Wow.
Multiple billion-dollar industry.
And how does it break down, like WordPress.org? Like, what are they doing in the market? Why is WP Engine competitive against them? Why is there the ability for an ecosystem to exist?
I mean, WordPress.org is an open source project. It's run by the foundation, so they have no bearing on WP Engine.
Okay.
Right? So what a lot of times people confuse is WordPress.com and WordPress.org are two separate entities.
Are they not? There's no shared overlap?
There's no shared overlap, except that the founder is the same person. So
is he still the president of the nonprofit?
He is, but there's a board now.
Okay,
so now there's
some oversight.
Right, there's some oversight.
Okay.
People
and
people
WordPress.com is how big of a business? I know I believe they're private still, but
yeah, they're still private.
But
I have some idea, but I probably won't share.
Are they bigger or smaller than WP Engine?
Pretty close, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive what they've built over at WP Engine.
Yeah.
Who are the other big guys in the WordPress space?
I mean, the biggest fishes in the WordPress space are the GoDaddies of the world.
Yeah.
Right? The GoDaddy.
Squarespace?
Squarespace now in WordPress, right? Endurance.
No, but yeah, okay, got
Yeah.
it. So GoDaddy actually runs WordPress for their...
Like hosting.
Okay.
Yeah, like hosting is a big market in WordPress, right? So because to run a WordPress site, you got to have a domain and hosting.
Yeah.
GoDaddy is the biggest in the world.
And do you have a company that does that?
No, that's not a business that I want to be in.
Okay.
It's very high
Commodity.
overhead. Very
Yeah,
high overhead.
high overhead, commodity.
And extremely competitive.
Yeah, hosting, dude. I started a hosting company. That was my second company. I
Yeah.
lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Learn my lesson. Where do you see the kind of the SaaS space going next in regards to how people are buying, the price points that they're, how we support customers? Like, what do you guys do to compete in the software space? Because WordPress is obviously very competitive.
Right.
I mean, you've probably had many projects like myself, all of a sudden you're on, Upwork, somebody's like, copy this site. I will pay you $500 to copy, this tool. What do you do to stay competitive?
The cool part about the WordPress ecosystem is that I feel it's still a little behind compared to when you're looking at other SaaS. Mm-hmm. It doesn't move as fast. That's my honest opinion on that. For us, just looking at what's happening in the SaaS world, bringing it over to the WordPress space, and really talking to our customers. We do proactive NPS surveys, but we do it a little differently. We ask conditional questions based on what they put in as their rating, whether it's 9 and 10, 7 or 8, or 6 below. And then there's a secondary question, which is like, if you could have us build one more feature or add one thing, what would it be?
Yeah.
And from
so
there,
really customer driven.
Really, really customer driven. And that helps make our product be the best in the market.
Yeah. Was there a point where the WordPress community didn't like doing monthly subscription tools?
Yes.
Because I felt like that was a big thing where, themes, etc. They were like one-offs, and it was really hard to get a continuity.
Absolutely.
And what shifted, or how did that come about?
I mean, even now it's a little, it's not as widely it's
prevalent,
more widely adopted, but
Yeah.
it's not still like people prefer
so
one-offs.
Yeah.
You see very little monthly subscriptions. It's more
it's annual?
It's more annual subscriptions.
Okay.
The reason for that is it's a downloadable.
Yeah.
Right.
And they install it.
Right. Unless you can do what Optin does. Right.
Yeah.
Like our WordPress plugin is just a connector between our app.
You need
and
an
what the plugin
API.
does. Right.
Yeah.
So at that point we can do monthly.
Yeah. But even you guys, you were early to the game of monthly within
we,
the WordPress.
we were like one of the first.
Yeah.
In the WordPress space to do monthly. Yeah.
And it's interesting how there's a cognitive bias towards a certain approach to business that even if it's internet, even though it's technology, I want to pay one time. I don't want to pay a subscription.
You know,
I mean, that's why I look at Adobe, and I mean, for them to do what they did, I mean, they really, that was a big shift in their business model.
Yeah,
right?
You got to retrain the consumer.
The whole, retrain the whole consumer.
Yeah.
What are other things that you feel, maybe yourself or other the best SaaS companies are doing well to really differentiate and compete?
You know, really creating good content is very important.
So education-based marketing.
Education-based marketing is important. Some of the best SaaS companies that I'm looking at are doing very well on product, like in product marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unpack that.
So somebody, you know, you have multiple tiers on your SaaS, and oftentimes you might have certain features that are locked, and you know, so some of the apps are not even showing those features that are locked.
Yeah.
So like
you don't even know they're
you don't even know they
available.
exist.
Yeah.
Right. So just adding that,
adding the link to the screen, and then explaining on this screen you can unlock it if you upgrade your account.
Exactly. Heck, even show a fake
marketing.
preview. Even show a fake preview of what it is, right?
Yeah.
And then put a video there. Put something of education of why is this important.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of thing is like, it's just hidden revenue for you.
Yeah. Sell more stuff to your
Right.
existing customers.
Absolutely.
That's really smart. I remember talking to HubSpot, and they mentioned that one of their biggest expansion revenue opportunity, and the reason why is the cost, is they used to have to make a customer that wanted to upgrade to the next level or even unlock an add-on, get on a call with a sales rep. And now what they do is they allow you to unlock it for a limited trial, which then forces the upgrade or the add-on, because it's a lot easier for them to obviously use it and then hit that upper limit. What do you guys do for retention, or do you do anything clever to help with expansion revenue or reduce churn? What's your...
You know, we try to make sure that the usage of our product is high.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times if the usage is not high, you're gonna lose that customer, and you won't be able to save no matter what
you say or discount you offer.
Right. What kind of cancellation workflow you put in, if the usage ain't there, you're not gonna win. Right. So what we do is like we celebrate the usage. So after like, you know,
like gamify,
right? Kind of like gamify it. After X days, we'll say, hey, you got this many entries, right? Go ahead, leave a review.
Yeah.
Go do this, right? And then like changing that messaging around usage. If we see that you're not using it, then somebody from our team will reach out and say, hey.
So do you actually, you have somebody on your team, customer success or whatever, actively monitor new accounts, activation, usage, and if they're not, they're...
Yes.
So it's celebrate when they get some wins, but then
Absolutely.
also actively ask them if they're not using it, what where they're stuck.
Yes. And you know, it's like manual plus like automated sequences that are happening. Right. So using intercom.
Yeah.
That's like sending messages, and then of course, I know you're a big fan.
Yeah. I don't hide the fact. Cool. So there is a people side to your business.
Yes.
Because as a bootstrap dude, you know, you obviously got to look at your expenses, and people are expensive. Have you figured out the ROI of where people make sense for some of this stuff, and where or even price point on accounts? Do you segment by, like, is there any accounts that don't get a manual contact?
We don't do that on our lowest end plan. But we know on the higher end plan, it makes sense. It makes more sense.
If
to do
somebody, you know, I always say your business, but if somebody bought a SaaS business today, what's the first thing you think they should change the day after to make it more
the
valuable?
checkout funnel?
And do unpack that one.
Look at what your cart abandonment is. You know, that's the first thing. I start there. If it's like recurring revenue, and you already have a lot of recurring revenue, then I start even one level below that and look at how much fail payment you have. Fixing that fail payment is a big issue that a lot of people don't even look at.
They don't.
And that's just bleeding money, and that's free money the moment you unlock it. And you can put in like some simple Dunning rules, you know, just to get started.
There's tools out there for that
already.
Yeah.
So start there, you know, a little bit higher up in the funnel, which is your checkout page. Take a look at what's the abandonment looking like there.
Yeah.
For example, I'll give you a quick example. A small change that you can make that we did. We had in the app, it was being communicated that you're going to get a discount if you upgrade today. Okay. You got to the pricing page, but the discount price wasn't being listed there.
Oh.
and the messaging in the app was saying discount was auto applied.
Yeah.
It was auto applied on the cart,
Yeah.
but it was not being
Not shown
communicated,
on the pricing page.
not being shown.
Yeah.
So just changing that. Massively.
It's the message
Messaging.
match.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like
So just-
people don't even look at their own flow
Right.
and they go, oh, that doesn't make any sense.
So just making sure, like, those little attention to details are there, reducing the fields, of course, common sense stuff, putting email field above everything. That's one of the first thing I do.
And then bring them back to the cart if they abandon. Is that why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Dude, I love how nerdy and technical you can get on optimization of the business model. It's not like high level. What are some of the companies that you admire that are doing cool things that maybe one level down? Everybody can mention the drifts and the drop boxes and et cetera, but even in your space or outside your space, who are guys that you admire the way they're operating?
And of course, I love WP Engine in our space. They're doing some really, really cool stuff. The guys at Nextiva are doing really awesome stuff. Business phone services.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing. Just looking at, always cool to see what Neil is doing with just making software free.
Yeah.
and,
Building top of funnel.
Yeah, building top of the funnel, and I think that's happening across the board, right? Just
there's going to be free versions
lowering the
of
price,
everything.
lowering the price, until you figure out, like, you have the user base, and then you can sell them anything you want.
If you had to wipe everything away from a tech product focus that you have, start over today, if you had to kind of design, or even for yourself, let's say you had a $500,000 to invest or build or buy, what would you go look at for kind of a SaaS that you'd want to be involved in? Like, and you don't have the WordPress community anymore,
right?
Like, you're starting from scratch. What do you think makes a good SaaS product? Like, what price point, what industry?
Man, if I was to go in, I would try to look a little bit more into the accounting space.
Why is that?
I think there's a big void there. So
you mean like in the zero space?
In the bench in the aerospace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something, and what do you like? What kind of price point do you like? I mean, do you like mid-market? Do you like SMB?
I like SMB because it doesn't have a sales overhead.
Yeah.
It's easy to sell to SMB. Of course, there's high churn on SMB.
Yeah.
But I would rather take that and then, just build that brand.
Yeah.
And then the mid-market and enterprise will just come to you.
They show up eventually anyways once you own that brand.
Yeah, because the inbound becomes the best channel at that point because you are everywhere.
Yeah. And you don't have to convince people to buy the product. They're just showing up.
Right.
Just as we wrap up, what's the one lesson you feel your mentor taught you? Like, obviously the technical and the triple net lease and all that stuff, but what's the mindset, belief thing that if you had to distill everything he's done, giving you advice, what would that be?
Just finding alignment.
What does that mean for you?
Just looking at who has what you want and figuring out, how does that align? What can you offer to them that aligns? To unlock that piece,
to like connect with them,
to leverage what they have, figuring out what can you offer them right now. How can
collaborate or
to
add value to their
add
world?
Value, do value add bundles or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Just finding the
alignment with the person you want.
Yeah.
And what are, and just because I think it's fascinating, what are things that somebody can add? Because there's a lot of people that are like, well, I don't have anything they would want. What have you seen work for somebody who's just starting off?
No, like you always have something they want. Otherwise you don't have a business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're filling a success gap.
Yeah.
In their customer journey. Right? And likely they are filling a success gap in your customer's journey.
Got it.
So yeah.
So finding that alignment partnership to get distribution of your product.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's probably the best thing you can do.
That's cool. Syed, appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome having you on. All right, everybody, check out, where can people find you online?
Awesomemotive.com.
That's
probably,
awesome.
It's probably like where you can see everything we're doing.
Yeah, we'll link it out.
All right, buddy.
Cool. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this episode of Escape Velocity. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment with your biggest insight from our conversation. Be sure to check out the next episode.